two. You look good, girl.
What's up, my brother? You always look good.
We out here, you know how it goes.
We out here. I like your hair. The curl.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, it's a Memorial Day. Curl ain't quite right, but we gonna let it be what it is.
I'm here for it.
Meanwhile, you got your Tracy Ellis Ross situation. I'm feeling the bow, bow, bow.
I'm trying. I was like, I gotta be right for my brother today. How are you, Scott? What's up?
It's so good to see you.
You too. It's always good to see you. How are you spending Memorial Day this year?
I mean, honestly, just left the park with the dogs, just kind of trying to relax. You know what I mean? I think there's so in this time right now. I said last week I spent the majority of the week like on the verge of busting into like laughter and bursting into tears, right? Like the whole week. So I've released myself this week of some of the expectations of I gotta do this, or I gotta do this, or if it's not productive, if it's not this. So today I'm just kind of like whatever if I feel like eating something, I'm gonna eat something. If I want to watch something, I'm gonna watch something. If I want to lay down, I'm gonna lie down.
And that's that. That.
So right now I'm just kicking it.
Yes.
Know, excited to be talking to you.
You are busy. You're a busy man. You've always been busy, but now you're like even more busy because World of Dance is back tomorrow. So not only are you co-hosting Access every day, you have your new show coming back tomorrow. Talk to us a little bit about the show and what we can expect this season.
Okay, so the thing about World of Dance is, and I've said this before, I feel like the stakes get higher and higher every year. The thing about this year is that, like in years before, you made it onto the show, you made it on this big, beautiful stage, and the name of the game was Just Don't Go Home. If you can manage to stay, you made it.
Right.
This time, you got to work, and you got to put in work before you even get a chance to dance on that stage. So we had this incredible World of Dance warehouse, and you had dancers from, dancers from all over the world. They are trying to earn their spot. So there's a different kind of fire. There's a different kind of fuel, I think, this time around. And the interesting thing is, I think, this is one of the last shows, NBC, we went right up against, we finished the day before the shutdown.
Wow.
So our whole show was done production-wise right before COVID-19 caused the world to kind of, Beyonce say, world stop.
Stop. Yeah, and it stopped.
And it did. Yeah. So this season, I think you're going to see it's still going to be just as big and just as colorful and just as like you want to, there are routines, there are numbers that make you want to get up out of your seat, right? So we still have that.
I can't wait. Are we going to see you busting any moves? That's who I want to see dancing.
You want to see me?
Yeah.
With all these professional dancers?
I want to see you on Dancing with the Stars.
I mean,
I just have to put that in there too.
What'd you say?
I want to see you on Dancing with the Stars.
What'd you say?
I want to see you on Dancing with the Stars.
I'll take that.
Okay.
I'll take that. I ain't mad.
Let's put that in the atmosphere.
Come on with it. I'm not mad.
Come on, Lord. Come on, Lord. But will we see you dancing on the show this season?
Yes, I dance on the show this season. Let me take that back. I dance. Does it make it in the final cut? I don't know.
We'll see.
But yeah, there are dancers in this season of the show that moved me so much that at one point I got in the shot on accident. And they were like, "Can you get up out of this performance?" I was like, "I didn't even know y'all could see me." Oh my God. But I learned a couple things this season. That's one of my favorite parts of our show when Derek in particular or Jennifer or NE-YO get up out of their seat because they want to learn something. Derek does it probably the most often. But when somebody wants to get up and they want to learn something and the dancer who is competing or what have you shows them something, that's always a fun point.
What have you learned from working with them? I mean, J-Lo, she's like the queen of dance. I mean, In Living Color, like, excuse me. What have you learned from working with the three of them?
So it's funny. My cousin Deidre Lang was a fly girl. the only fly girl to move through every season of the show. And so she was telling me some stories about Jennifer as a fly girl and what it was like, how the dynamic changed when the season that Jennifer danced as a fly girl. So from even before that, right? Yeah. This woman, Jennifer Lopez, has been, I mean, going after it. What the thing that I have learned, I think the most from watching her work and watching her move is that you, with a clear focus and a laser-like, this is going to be my life. Right. And so because you believe it's going to be, it already is your life. Yes. You start making some choices that are different than if you didn't really believe it. Like I've seen her, I've seen her run a meeting. You know what I mean? I've seen her move from basically landing in LA from the Super Bowl situation that was, right, to into a World of Dance meeting to the first day of shooting, and she didn't skip a beat. You know what I mean? The thing I think that I've learned most importantly though is that without vision, without team, yes, and without sacrifice, nothing that you want, if it's a bigger idea, right, can happen. Right. It doesn't just happen because you're like, oh, I want that thing. Or it doesn't just happen because like, oh, I deserve that thing. Right. If you're not pounding the pavement, if you're not every day making strides toward that thing, then you're also saying, I don't really want it. Right. I don't really deserve it. And I see this woman, you will not outwork Jennifer Lopez. I believe you. And we will not outwork Scott Evans. Talk to us about, speaking of J-Lo's vision and how everything, look, you look fine. Stop it. Okay. Talk to us about your vision to be a host on this show. This was something that you wanted to do. Talk to us about the amazing opportunity and how this landed in your lap. It didn't land in my lap. That's kind of, I guess, the crazy part. So I remember when the show was announced years ago, and it was announced and the only talent at that time was Jennifer Lopez. She was the only one that was kind of associated with the brand and the idea. And I remember like, oh, I want to be on the show. I want to work on the show. I want to do this. I want to be a part of this. And sending emails to apparently all the wrong people. I know that. You know what I mean? And just wanting to, this is something that I see for my life, and so I'm going to go after it the way that I know how. And so at the time was represented with an agency and was like, I want to submit for this and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, I don't know if they may already have a host, whatever. So it didn't happen, right? So the next publication, the next trade publication, it's the judges are announced, the host is announced, and I was like, oh, man. But also, still going to support this show. I'm still going to interact with the content that's created because I loved the idea. So season goes by, you know, I cover it for Access Hollywood. I think second season goes by, cover it for Access Hollywood, and then the conversation starts changing with the show as far as like how they're going to move forward with the cast of the show and the direction for the show. And I remember when Jenna and World of Dance parted ways, I was like, oh, this is my opportunity. This is it, Lord. Jesus? Amen. Be a fence, right? And I remember calling my agents at that point and being like, hey, so it looks like the host position, you do the thing that everybody who has any sort of representation or has any sort of gumption is like, oh, the slot is open. Let's get in that slot. Yeah. And they told me, they're like, oh, we've already submitted you for this. This is something that, you know, we would love for you to have or love for you to be able to do, but they're not looking for a host this season. And it looks like maybe next season we can get you on the short list. I was just like, yeah, nah, that don't really sound like the answer I was looking for. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I found the NBC executives who were in charge of the show, in charge of talent as far as the who makes the decisions in that regard. I also looked up the production companies. I looked up the people who are involved in a leadership position, and I reached out to everybody.
Right.
But the thing that ended up kind of happening is I took a job to host a carpet for and this is a long story, and I'm trying to make it shorter.
No, we want to hear this. So, because I think this helps us to know, and people that are watching, how we
that it don't just like, you don't just they don't just call you and say, hey, you want to host one of the biggest shows on the network? No, that's not how it happens. Yeah. So I got the offer to host a pre-show, like a red carpet pre-show for the AMAs, the American Music Awards. Mm-hmm. And with that role, you're offered a series of fringe benefits, right? And one of them is a ticket into the show. Now, I wore a Pepto-Bismol pink velvet suit.
Looking fly.
Looking hot, like degrees. Looking like you could roast a marshmallow on my forehead, right? So get in, and Stevie Mackey and I are, I see him sitting, mind you, in the front row.
Yes.
A friend of mine who's an incredible vocal coach, vocal trainer, arranger. He is
Benny
literally,
Medina.
Huh?
Benny?
No, this is Stevie Mackey.
Okay.
If there is a person who is the personification of vocalness,
yes,
is him. Who is sitting next to Benny Medina, Elaine Goldsmith Thomas, who are longtime business partners, confidants, friends, co-creators with Jennifer Lopez. But I see Stevie. Stevie and I have known each other for years, and Ella May is on the stage.
Wow.
We start singing like we're her background singers during the show, to the point where she looks over at us. I didn't even know that she was a client of Stevie's. So I agree that somebody's saying that the suit is sharp.
The suit was sharp. Yeah.
I thought they were talking about your suit. I was like, your suit is sharp.
No, yours. The pink. The pink goes the pink.
Right? AJ Gibson, he also hosted the carpet that year. So, and I think he does on a pretty regular basis. Like, that brother kills. I mean, every pre-show that bruh is on, he comes all the way correct. So to be associated with this group of people doing this particular show, I jumped at the opportunity. And so I'm now inside the auditorium, the show's going on, and we are acting a total fool. We are acting such a total fool that Benny looks at Elaine and goes, what happened?
Right.
Scott. I don't know that. I turn her, the song ends, Ella May looks at us and she's like, y'all want to maybe calm down during my performance? Thanks. I said, Stevie, you just got me all the way in trouble. Benny goes to grab me and say, what are you doing here? And I was so embarrassed that I hugged him, I hugged Elaine, and I just left.
Wow.
So, shortly after that, I had a drinks with another executive at NBC, Sahara Bushu, who it was just kind of like a touch and go, like, let's connect, let's meet each other, let's touch base.
Yeah.
Is the word that always happens in the industry, right? Let's touch base. Mm-hmm. So we did. At the end of it was supposed to be 30-minute drinks that led to, I think, 2 or 3 hours of conversation, just getting to know each other. And when we left, I had this moment of like, we haven't talked about working together necessarily, but I feel like if I don't mention that I really want to work on World of Dance right now, like, I would be doing myself a disservice.
Yes.
I would not be, and not that I need to capitalize on this opportunity or this interaction with you, but that certainly I need to honor my desire and let you know that this is something that I'm thinking about and that I want to do.
Right.
She was like, say no more. I just need you to know that it is something that I am interested in talking to you more about, but we can't make none of those decisions until we know.
Right.
What Miss Jennifer Lopez wants to do.
Exactly.
So that was probably a Friday. Monday, I get a call from another exec at NBC, Tommy Crump, and she's like, come to my office right now.
Tommy, yes.
I was like, but I'm at a, she was like, come to my, okay, so I'll see you in a minute. Mm-hmm. So I run to her office, like I throw on a jacket, I run. I was like, wait, I don't know what this is. Walk in. And I remember thinking I should call Benny and see, let them know I'm going to go into this meeting. Is there anything I need to say? Is there whatever? I walk in, Benny's there, Elaine is there, Sahara is there, like all of these people, and they're looking at me like, so.
And you had no idea. You didn't have time to prep for a meeting.
There was no prep. It was a phone call. Come to my office right now. The prep came in the years of wanting to work on the show. Why is it something that you want? Why is it something that you think you can do? And so, yeah, I sat down in the chair, and the first question out of Benny's mouth, it was almost like in unison, Benny and Elaine both said, so why World of Dance?
Right.
And I was like, because I'm a fan first. And I get that there are incredible dancers all around this platform. I get that there are incredible people who go into producing this show. But as a viewer, I represent everybody else on the couch like, that was some crazy stuff.
Right.
When you brought the leg up like this and took it around like that, I don't even know how you did that.
Right.
And so I wanted that kind of energy to exist on this show. And I wanted to be that representation of that energy. And I just felt like this was something I was supposed to be doing. Yeah. And I really felt that. It wasn't like a put on. I wasn't trying to take somebody's gig. I wasn't trying to slide into somebody else's spot. I really thought this was a space created in a way for me. Mm-hmm. And that I had to show up to that just as ready. I had to show up to that just as committed, right? And so the meeting lasted for maybe 20 minutes. Wow. And it was just kind of talking. Elaine said this thing to me. I'm going to butcher the actual Yiddish. I think it's Beshert. Mm-hmm. Beshert. It's about kind of like kismet or meant to be. Uh-huh. That maybe this was an opportunity. All of the situation, how I came to be in this seat, yeah, was all kind of being orchestrated all along. And so I remember, it's getting a little emotional right there, but I remember working in sales. I'm gonna take this all the way back. I remember working in sales and being told by one of the trainers for this particular group, always close the deal. Never leave the deal with any questions about your product, about you, mm-hmm, on the table. And so I was keenly aware that I was brought into this kind of meeting, this situation, to pitch myself.
Right.
And so I wanted to close the interview, mm-hmm, right? And so I remember looking to Benny and to Elaine and Tommy and Sahara, and I said, are there any concerns that you have about me taking the position? Do you have any sort of like reservations about me stepping into this space? What more do you need to see from me? Right. And Benny looked up and said, what more do we need from you? Nothing. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, well, I'm going to get my stuff right here and I'm going to toodles. And he told me later that he had never been in a situation where someone read the room and took their exit. People typically sell beyond the sell. Right. So don't forget, and then I can do this. And then, because the thing is, and I also love Spanish. I don't know if you knew that, but in ballet, when I was 13, I only took 2 lessons, but I know first position, you do all of that.
Right.
And I just felt like I knew these people would not be having this meeting if they didn't think I could do it. And they just wanted to know how for real I was about it. And so after they were aware and convinced of that,
here we are.
So that was a Monday. I got the call for the offer on a Wednesday. The offer was, the deal was done on Thursday, and I was on stage on Friday.
Scott, we've had plenty of conversations, right? Offline, you and I. And
yeah.
this is why I wanted you to go into the whole story about how you got this role, because everything that you spoke about is so very critical and so important. You can't miss any steps, right? Getting to your moment. And I feel like you are a perfect fit for this hosting gig. And I wanted people to know that, you know, oftentimes we think, like you said, that, oh, I just want this, I just want that, but we're not intentional about it. We're just like, we want that, but why do we want that? And so I love that story.
Or what you gonna do with it?
Yes, right. What are you gonna do?
What you gonna do with it? And
how
so
are you gonna benefit other people, right?
Right. And so that's fortunately this season in particular, the show has so then you get the gig, right? And you step on the stage. Now, mind you, I have never hosted a shiny black floor. It's kind of what they call them, this big format, this huge. I've never done anything like this. And so I just went from not being the host to being the host in the middle of the season, mind you. The season has already started, and I step on the stage and they're like, okay, so go. I was like, oh God, what does that mean? What is this? And so then the show goes, so we finished that season, and then the show goes through right now we're in like, it feels like a relaunch. Like the show has new energy, it has a new take, and the stakes are all different. And so it feels different, right? And now the role that I have on this show is me. Do you know what I mean? Now the role, like I'm the first person that these people see after they've either gotten a yes from the judges, a no from the judges, or another answer that we'll talk about later.
Okay.
After y'all see the first episode.
Right.
And so I get to love on them. I get to encourage them. I get to see them in experiencing like one of the highs of their lives. I also get to remind them that if it's a no, that this, while it may feel like the biggest thing to happen or not happen in your life right now, that it is just a part of your journey, and you can either allow it to break you or build you. It was a lot of hugs, you know, and even some tears, but I got to be me on this show that I so loved and respected. So it was, yeah, it's been crazy.
I'm gonna come back to the "you got to be you" part. Why should people watch this season of World of Dance? Because,
like I said, you feel from the very first episode, from the very first performers, that this is something a little different. That the stakes are a little higher. Right. We meet a couple from Colombia who are these incredible. They're like daredevil salsa dancers, right?
Oh, wow.
They do some of the most incredible things I've ever seen done on the World of Dance stage, just the two of them. And you feel their story, you feel their fight, you feel why they cannot not win. You know what I mean? And what you end up doing, like in seasons before, you kind of felt like you knew who might win, and so you root for that person.
Right.
This one, there are so many people who are capable of winning, who you want to win. You end up kind of rooting for everybody. And I know that sounds crazy, but like, you do.
That makes for a good show, though, because you don't know who will win, right?
It does. And I can guarantee you, there's no way you watch the qualifiers and you're like, oh, I know exactly who's going to win. I find it hard to believe.
We'll be watching tomorrow on NBC.
Boom,
What time, Scott?
I think it's 7:30.
Okay.
Look, let me make sure.
Yeah,
you can't get that wrong.
You
can't get that wrong.
Get that right for us.
Yeah, so
I also want to go back a little bit as well. So let's go back to the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So you were born in New Jersey, but raised in Indianapolis. Is that right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about your childhood growing up. What were your career aspirations early on? What did you want to do when you were small?
10, Tuesday at 10. Look,
10.
I was wondering.
So not 7:30, y'all. 10.
10.
Okay. Tomorrow.
10/9 Central.
10/9 Central on NBC.
On NBC. No, I knew this is what I wanted to do since I was in the 3rd grade. I played my sister, this figure in my life, this woman who became my family. Stacey Pates was the courtside reporter for the Indiana Pacers. And she booked me on my first gig. I was a young Reggie Miller playing against a young Larry Bird in Indianapolis for the homecoming, not the homecoming, for the player intro videos.
Yeah.
You're in the seats and the video comes on.
Yeah.
So I got to play Reggie Miller in this thing, and I remember leaving the set on the way home, and I looked at Stacy and I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Wow. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And she was like, okay, creepy third grader. Right. Sure.
Okay.
But I remember the feeling of the crew, right? Yeah. And the performance aspect. And then we got to the game and I got to see people lose their minds. And I felt like they were losing their minds over what we had done, this team had done. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to work in a way that people respond to what you're involved in like this, where they lose their minds over the art that you've been able to bring or the story that you've been able to bring. And yeah, so my mom, Stacy, and other members of our family and friend circle made sure that I was a part of every opportunity that was available in Indianapolis. And being young and Black in Indiana, we had this organization called Indiana Black Expo that fostered or facilitated this program called the Youth Video Institute. And so I started as a cameraman and photographer, and then moved into segment producing, and then accidentally got on camera one day. And have been on camera. Yeah, because the talent for that particular shoot that I was producing didn't show up. And so I knew the shoot. And so I did it and have not been behind the camera since.
So is this a full circle moment? Because you then went on to work for the Indiana Pacers as the youngest and the first African-American co-host of that show.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about when you get that job as the youngest. I believe you were 19. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You get this job. So is that like, oh, I've made it? Or do you feel inside that, no, this is good, but I know there's more for me out there?
Yeah, no, I haven't made it yet. So no, I'm keenly aware that it's all about the progress. It's all about this thing leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing in a way. Yeah. But it's also like, no, this thing is awesome. This thing is a portion of the dream revealed, right? And so that's what it really has always kind of felt like, is that this is now the next part of the dream that's being revealed to me.
Yes.
Right? I think Maya Angelou said, you have to be ready to dream a new dream a bigger dream. Tyler Perry said to me, get clearer on your dream. Mm-hmm. I could go on for days on that kind of advice, but yeah, so it never felt like, oh, this is the big break. Right. This was just like, oh, because I knew I was in this for the long haul. I knew that I was going to be, I planned to be doing this kind of thing for some time. And so it just felt like, yeah, let's go.
Let's work. Let's do it.
Let's go. And so I didn't feel like I necessarily had this like, oh, I'm the youngest, I'm the first Black guy to do this this way. I got to carry that, as much as it felt like, oh, I got to represent me the best I can. So there's no question. Yeah.
I love that. Scott, what's one piece of career advice that you've received along your journey up until this point that has stuck with you? What has someone told you about how you should, I know you just spoke about Tyler Perry and what he told you. What's a piece of advice that stuck with you that you use currently?
One of the best pieces of advice I think I was ever given about anything when it comes to work was actually a piece of advice given to me by Stacey Pates, which was be a joy to work with. Be easy to work with. And that doesn't mean be a pushover, agree with everything and do everything anyone ever tells you to do, but it does mean show up on time. It does mean be prepared. It does mean be receptive to criticism and critique. It does mean be a collaborator. It does mean be invested in the thing that you're doing. If someone else is going to be spending their time lighting you and framing you and preparing questions for you and booking this beautiful space to be in, the least you can do is show up ready.
Right.
The least you can do is show up prepared and ready to tackle the assignment. I think also another piece of advice that I think people in our industry need to be aware of is that you are not any job. Your identity is not wrapped up in any position. Who you are is not measured by the success or your title, right? It's just the thing that you do. And if you're wielding that energy the best way, your personality is kind of in alignment with your job title, hopefully, right? And so it's just another avenue for you to be who you are in the fullness that is, because it blesses everybody else around you. Right? You being true to who you are, the best way you know how to be, allows other people to wake up to that in themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where you might feel like, oh, I'm just a dental hygienist. No, you're way more than a dental hygienist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You may feel like, oh, I'm just a TV host. Well, no. If you're really living that truly and authentically and being the kindest, most thoughtful being you can be, you're actually blessing all of these people in the process.
Right.
Yeah, but there was a time where I kind of got mixed up in the, oh, my title is what I am. Oh, if I'm not a co-host, I'm not doing it. Oh, if I'm not this, I'm not that. And that's not true. We have to release ourselves from some of that pressure, and I think some of that expectation. The reality is, you want that gig, you want that job, you want to be able to do that thing, but that's not ultimately what makes or breaks you.
Right. Scott, you are a Black journalist in this industry where it's not very many of us in the industry. Tell me, I know you said earlier that you felt excited about World of Dance because you could be yourself. Yeah. Have you ever felt like in any spaces that you had to shrink or maybe turn down who you were to appease your coworkers or for a job?
Two things. One, when I came into World of Dance, those first couple of shows, I was like, no one is telling me that's a bad job, so I guess I'll just do the thing I've been doing. And when I first walked out on that stage, the first few words, I was like, what would Ryan Seacrest do?
Don't we all think that? Now, let's be real. I think we all have thought that. Like, let's be clear.
And this is World of Dance.
Right.
Good evening. I'm Scott Evans, your host, and we're going to take a journey. I don't talk like that.
Right. Nick.
I don't talk like that. And that's not why they hired me. So you come out of that, I think, pretty quickly, because this is not a comfortable space to live in, and you're not as successful in that as Ryan Seacrest is. And so stop doing that, right? So walking into that experience, I had to adjust. But yeah, there have been other instances where I felt like, oh, what's the message here? What's, based on like personnel changing or the tone of the show shifting or artwork, even graphics and shots can be a little jarring like that sometimes. But yeah, I think ultimately you get to a point where you just trust that you are. I think when I decided in my personal life that I was enough.
Yes.
I think that in my personal life, when I decided that I was not going to pretend to be something for someone else in order to make them feel more comfortable or less comfortable with me, I think once I decided that I loved this guy, flaws and all, that I didn't feel the need to shift inside of any sort of box.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so I was able to really, it kind of trickled over into the personal for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel like I gotta do the host thing anymore.
Right. And did it take you a long time to get to that point, or was it just
No, it took a really hard conversation with myself. It took reading some journal pages. And there was one meditation in particular that really kind of changed a lot of things for me. I was talking to a friend and like a healer, friend of mine, Sarah, and you can find her on Instagram. She's the bomb. But let me tell you right now, don't do it if you're not ready, because it's some life altering, changing, momentum shifting kind of stuff. Okay. I walked away from that conversation and I was like, oh, you've had this thing backwards.
Right.
If you get the job, if you get the thing, if you get the house, if you get the car, if you get the dogs and the family and the whatever, then you'll feel great. You'll feel accomplished and important and loved. But if instead you gave those feelings, and if instead you intended on feeling those things might come.
Right.
I don't know if that was as clear in telling as it was in my head, but after this conversation, there were things that just shifted, that I was unable to do what I used to do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it didn't take a long time because I'm only 33. Yeah.
Okay.
So it didn't take a long time, but once it happens, you can't go back.
Okay. And what's her IG for the people that are watching?
Matter of fact,
put it on there. Put that on there because people want to know. People want their lives to change and shift like Scott.
I'm going to tell you. Okay, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to post it on, if you go to my Instagram,
yes,
I will do a story with her information on it.
Perfect.
But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not ready for your life to change, if you're not ready to feel like you have done enough of this way, I have reached my wit's end of, if you still feel like, well, I got a couple more things I could probably try before I don't do it.
Don't do it. Okay.
Because it's a waste of your time and money. If you are like, nah, something's got to change and I'm ready to try something new now, right, holla at your girl.
Okay, we're going to be on your Instagram after this.
Yeah.
Got access. Okay, so you guys are now shifted to the work from home model. You guys are recording every day from home. Talk to us about that adjustment. How has that adjustment been for you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm ready for this to be over.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you. I think I found ways that cope. I think I have found ways every day that I can kind of like loop into, okay, I can take this bit by bit. Right. But in order to be really real with you, while I'm glad that every day we get to be a break from right, some of the monotony or mess that you might find in your life or that's out there on TV.
Yes.
I'm ready to get back in the studio. I'm ready to get back to some of our other aspects of our lives that were fulfilling. Right. Because I haven't found a whole bunch of ways to recreate those in my home. I'll be totally honest with you. But it has been fun to be able to I'm on the phone 3 days ago with Kristen Bell. And
you're talking to everybody. I'm like, look at him.
I mean, like in the house with Kristen Bell. No, frozen.
That's why we're all tuning in every day, because we're like, okay, what is Scott doing today? And Scott, I also love your relationship or your friendship with Kit. How has she been an inspiration or a motivation to you? I feel like you guys just work so well together. It's like a brother-sister dynamic that I love, and it just lights up the screen.
Have you ever met somebody for the first time and felt like y'all were actual friends, just meeting them, just them being them without any airs, without anything extra, them being them so closely aligns with who you are doing you, and y'all just kick it tough? So then you
hello,
you get it. Yes. So there are, I feel like, a couple instances when people show up to you in a really authentic way, right, and you are prepared to receive authenticity finally maybe in your life, then you real recognize real.
Right.
And with Kit, she is such like a ball of energy. She's so, she's never not that.
Wow.
She could have just been like a flight from Tokyo, and it's just like this. She's like, well, no, but I mean, I could get up if you want to get. We can try. You know what I mean?
I feel
she's
like
the bomb.
Like the perfect combination, though. You know what I mean? Like you two
she's the bomb.
Are so similar. I love it. Scott.
Yeah, she is one of those people who boosts everyone who is around them. I think she got it from. I think she gets it honestly from her mother. Yeah. I think that she channels this kind of like maternal instinct that she just wants everybody to win. Mm-hmm. So when you're near her, you become a winner, whether you had it in you originally or not. It's why she's such an incredible mother and wife, I think, and person. And so that connection that you see is genuinely our connection. Right. So there's no other way to explain it, but she the bomb.
When you're not hosting 2 shows on the same network, you're also posting thirst traps on Instagram. Ooh. You're showing muscles. You're giving the people a little show.
Just a little.
Talk to us a little bit about your fitness regimen, my dear. What are you doing to stay fit during this quarantine? I mean,
so I bought a bike.
Okay.
Right, like a little stationary bike. It's real. It keeps the legs in check. It keeps your core situation in check. I didn't do the Peloton because I feel like everybody else did the Peloton, so I went another route. But I honestly, like, I go through fits of like, I'm gonna work out twice a day. I'm gonna eat only protein and gummy bears.
What?
I don't know. And I'm an intermittent fast, and I'll do that for like 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And then we'll be like, I'm not moving from this couch.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Thank you for keeping it real with us. Because people will watch your IG and be like, dang, how can a girl or how can a brother get like Scott?
I was out with somebody from work, and I ordered my meal, and it was Nicole. Nicole from our wardrobe department, runs our wardrobe department, and she goes, "You eat carbs?"
Okay, Nicole.
I was like, "Yeah."
I like it.
Yes. But let me tell you, the Instagram, every once in a while, you just gotta let people know
who you are.
You know what I'm saying? Don't let the laughs and the jokes fool your eye.
Oh, you let us know now.
Every once in a while, you gotta remind some folks.
You let us know. Scott, is fitness like a part, May is mental health month. So is fitness a part of like how you protect your mental health during this time, during the lockdown and the quarantine?
I think during quarantine in particular, I think it has become more and more important to find some way to sweat on a regular basis. And that's ultimately, I think, probably the more the commitment that I have made over calorie counting or hitting the weights or CrossFit or any of those things. It's been, can you sweat? And how often can you sweat? And so I've got 2 large dogs that need exercise. And so trying to keep them, you see how my house is quiet?
Yes.
It's because they're tired. When they're not tired, this house is a whole different situation.
Oh, Lord.
But so yeah, it's definitely a way. I think fitness is definitely a way to protect your mental health. It's also a way to exercise mental health.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And to be mindful of it's all connected.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's nothing like having a kind of not so great day at work or personally, and then getting on that bike and taking it all out on those pedals.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Get me a bike. Now you make me want to get a bike. So.
And especially now because there are fewer cars on the road, getting a bike you can actually go somewhere.
Right. I need to get a bike.
Yeah.
So we're in.
But you're cool. You're right.
No, but I'm not Scott right. I need to get Scott Evans right. I need to get the abs. I need to get the things.
You got time.
Okay, so we're in the middle of graduation season, right? And so a lot of people, the graduating class of 2020, a lot of them are entering the workforce for the first time, and a lot of them are wanting to pursue a career in journalism. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to those graduating seniors who are entering the workforce during this pandemic?
I think I would say the same thing to seniors who are graduating now in a pandemic. would be the same thing I would say to seniors who were graduating 5-10 years ago, right? And it honestly is whatever you decide to do, wherever you decide to do it, make sure that it is the thing you genuinely love, that you're not responding to the desires of parents, professors, previous loves, old commitments, or pressures in society. That what you've decided, if it is journalism, if it is teaching, if it is sales, if it is the medical field, that you genuinely care about the thing that you are pursuing professionally. Now, there are, I think, a ton of different ways to look at a professional pursuit. Some people say, look at the demand, go with what demand, right? And that is a viable option. It ain't the advice I would give you.
It's not for everybody.
It ain't the advice I would give you. And so, because you got to do it every day.
Right.
And if you can, why not choose something that you genuinely care about or are curious about? And so I would say also to find aspects of that you can start engaging in and interacting with immediately. You know, if you're a young journalist, you don't have to wait for the call from the network. You don't have to wait for the call from the agent, because first, it ain't coming. Just want to let you know, if you're waiting for a call from an agent to say, hey, we want to pick you up.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is not how it works. And so there never before has there been a time, especially in quarantine, has there been a time where people are more empowered to create on their own, to partner and collaborate with other creators who are out there. Find an opportunity now to be doing the thing now. You don't have to wait. And honestly, why should you? Why should you? Get involved, get out there, get active. That would be my advice. And because you deserve it.
Yes, you always give the best advice. One piece of advice you gave me that has stuck with me, I'll tell you. You told me not to feel guilty for pursuing my dreams. Like, let the guilt go. Don't have that pressure of feeling guilty for, pursuing what God has put in me. Basically.
Yeah, well, because I think that in particular, we were talking about, the fact that you aren't just you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You are a part of a relationship, a union that you wanted to honor your partner in this thing. And you wanted to make sure that your choices and his supporting your choices did not alienate the two of you from the commitment that you had made. And so I wanted you to know that if the brother said, baby, let's go, then that's fuel to get going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so the same thing to other young people out there. If you want it, go get it. And one of the comments in here right now is that it took me 5 years to get in the door. You should know right now it ain't gonna happen overnight.
No.
It ain't gonna happen overnight. But if you really love it, you don't even want it to happen overnight. Because if it happens that fast, if it happens because somebody said, here you go, you know what? It can also be taken from you that fast.
Right.
So work toward it, build it, and it's your own. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now there are so many platforms where you can do that.
You blessed us again. Thank you so much, my brother.
Come on.
We appreciate you taking the time on this Memorial Day to pour into us and share your story. And we will be watching tomorrow.
At 10.
Also, World of Dance tomorrow at 10. 10.
Ah!
And we'll be looking for thirst traps on IG.
I know that's right. Look, they're coming. They're going to be on their way. They're going to be on their way.
We're going to be watching.
Hold on, wait. Somebody just said, I'm praying and waiting for my big break. Can I address that with while I encourage you to pray and to sacrifice and to stay in a place where you feel like you can hear the call and be focused, don't wait.
Ooh.
Don't wait. That's not the interpretation that I think that is best suited for the times that we find ourselves in now. And if waiting is the action word that you like to use, I would say switch it for prepare.
Ooh.
Instead of waiting, prepare yourself for the thing that you have been asking for. So if it means going out to enrich your skills, if it means deepening your relationships with people who are in the industry, if it means finding stories that are interesting or captivating to you, be working on that. Be preparing for the blessing. Don't just wait on it.
And Lena says, study your craft. Look, Scott, in these gyms.
Listen, Lena can attest that it cannot find you. It cannot find you if you're not committed to it, right?
Hello.
And so what better way to commit than to expand, than to learn, right?
Right.
Like don't
just wait.
Don't wait, because you'll be waiting.
I wouldn't have found you if I didn't move to LA 2 years ago. And remember when we met at the event, and Daryl goes,
you not gonna he said, "You not gonna say nothing?"
He said, "Wait, okay." What did he say? He was like, "What's up, bro?" I was like,
he was like,
Lord.
look, this is me. This is me. This is me. And I'm like over here dancing, doing this. And he was like, "Excuse me, my brother." I turned around, I was like, "Did I do something?"
I was so embarrassed. But look at us now. I mean, I love it. And Lena says, also tell the universe that you want it. Everything you do should be in the service of your purpose. This is...
Get your personality into alignment with your role, with your position, you know what I mean, with the thing that you want. Make sure that, for example, if you want to be a teacher, but you don't like kids, I don't know if that's really what
It might not be it.
You know what I mean? If you want to be a producer, but you don't like working with people, you know what I mean? Like, we got to get clear. We got to get clear about what it is that we really want, why we want it, and then what it's going to take to get there. The waiting, that's done. That we ain't got time. We ain't got time. And make it should be something that you can have. People talk about like having a singular focus. People talk about like, oh, I'm going after this, and this is like, you should be able to laser in on the thing that you want and pull people in to help you get there.
Yes. Lena says people are juggling too many things, like you just said. Laser. But Lena, we need to get you on, girl. Can we get you on next week? You need to drop some gems for us too. Somebody said, will this live be saved? It will be saved.
Absolutely. And Lena, I'm about to call you because there's something else I need you. Look, meanwhile, one goal. Laser focus. Yeah. So the only reason I wanted to make sure was because I just felt like I remember wanting this thing so bad and feeling like every opportunity that happened without me in it, every opportunity that I want that passed me by, it separated me. It furthered me from my dream. And what I realized is that it all is moving you closer if you're actually doing the work.
Right. If
you're actually pounding the pavement day after day, not taking no for an answer. I was told no 4 times for World of Dance. 4 times. 4 times.
4.
They said no. This is not the way that we're gonna do it. Wow. And I just was like, that don't really seem like right.
That don't sound, and you know it doesn't feel right, right? You feel it like that's not right.
And so the moment they were like, well, I was like this.
Okay.
Huh?
Right.
And ready, not just wanting.
Yes.
Ready.
Prepared.
So when I stepped out on that stage and I was like, I don't really know what you want me to be doing. Let me just and sing. And
here we have it.
Yeah. So
you have some nice fashions on too this season. What are you gonna be wearing?
Oh, I clown this season. It's sneakers. I spent a little too much money on. I tried to look. Lena, I'm gonna give you another shout. I tried to give my Lena. I was like, okay, let's see what would.
She just said you be slaying on the carpet too.
Don't play. Don't play.
She be playing too, and her sneaker game is on point.
Quietly. So Cynthia, she already know too. So I mean, this season, I think I being a part of the show from the very beginning, I didn't feel like I needed to like wait my turn. Right. This season, I got to really just be myself. You'll see that reflected for sure in what I wear, for sure how I interact with the judges and the talent on the show. I think this season, you're going to be surprised. It's so much fun. It's so much energy. And it's a break. A lot of the shows that are coming out, especially on network right now, they're all coming from a living room. It's this. Now,
so we get a real show outside of the living room.
Yeah.
We cannot wait, Scott. This has been such such a treat. Thank you so much, Scott.
No, thank you.
Anything else you want to say before you go? You know, the floor is yours. It's yours.
I'll say this.
Okay.
If you are a young person, especially if you're a young person of color, and maybe feeling like there are no roads forward for your dream, there are no roads forward for your pursuit in happiness, it is not true. You deserve the very best things in life. Because you are here is a testament to the strength and the prayers prayed over you before you even got here. If you are in a position where you may be feeling like, but why me? How me? What could I do? I challenge you to dig a little deeper. I challenge you to meditate on, instead of why me? Why can't I? I would challenge you to meditate on, what do I have to offer? What can I offer? What can I bring to the table? Why not me?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You deserve it. You deserve it. Now go get it.
Look, I think we are all about to go get it after this word today, on a Monday.
On a Monday?
The church was yesterday, but we had service today.
Shoot. Go get it. You deserve it.
We're going to go get it, Scott. We're going to watch you tomorrow too. 10 p.m. on NBC World of Dance. I love you, Scott. Thank you so much for just love this for you. Thank you for being you. Thank you.
Indeed. Ain't no other way to be.
Guys, Lena, Scott, tell Lena, can we get on an interview?
Come on.
Okay.
Come on. I got you, boo.
All right. Bye. Love y'all. Okay.
Where is the buzz?
Where is the buzz? You said was mine.